everybody. Good evening. Welcome to episode 22 of the Giant Zone. You've got your co-host, Steve the Banker, and you've got myself, yours truly, Carl Fly Guy. And tonight we are joined by a very, very special guest. A lot of you already know him. He's a great fan and a great supporter of the show. Eli Vibes Eli Rash. I want to make sure I say it right there, big brother.
Thank you so
welcome
much.
to the show, man. I know we talked about you on here a long time, so glad we finally made this happen, brother.
I'm excited, man. Thank you so much for having me, guys, man. This is a great platform, man. If you guys don't know the Giant Zone, you sleeping under a rock at this point. All right. So I appreciate you guys for having me. What a great platform to be on. Thank you so much, man. I don't do most of these interviews, man, but for my guy, Fly Guy and the Banker, I'm here, baby. I'm here.
We appreciate you giving us some time tonight. You know, we had Spiro and Hefe on previously, and we're sorry we couldn't get you on that night. So we definitely wanted to make sure we circle back and got you on as well. So we really appreciate the time tonight, brother. So
thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
What we do, Eli, is we start every show with our guests, and we say, you know, give us a little background about yourself, how you became a Giants fan. And I don't know if a lot of people know that story about you. So please give us a little insight into who Eli really is.
Well, let me tell you first things first, man. I grew up a very poor kid, very poor family, lived in the projects, man. And, you know, I'm the youngest of three other siblings here on my mom's side. My dad was a Rolling Stone. I can include them, but it'd be a longer story. So at my mom's house, you know, I was the youngest of one of the boys. I have an older sister as well, two other brothers, and my middle brother is a huge Giants fan. I remember him coming down the hallway when the Giants won the Super Bowl. He's like, we won. And I didn't really grasp the idea of the 90-something Super Bowl. And I was just like, man, I don't know about this. But as I got older, you know, with the Dave Brown era, and he was watching the game, and he was just like, yo, man, it's Giants or nothing. And we were losing. We were terrible back then. And but the funny thing was, as I was getting older, I grew closer to him because I was like, man, I really want to watch these Giants. So this is how we pretty much got a little bit closer. I started watching the games with him every Sunday religiously, getting up and, you know, younger and just off from school, and we watched the game, you know, and it's kind of grew older as I moved out. After every game, we call each other and talk about the game. And I basically learned how to be a Giants fan from him. And for pretty much years since, let's say 15 years old, I'm now 39 now. I'm an old man. I've been a Giants fan, you know, so I to this day, unfortunately, my brother's no longer here with us in the physical. He's here in the spirit world. But he will get a kick out of, you know, what I'm doing now, but we'll go into that a little bit later. But that's how I became a Giants fan. It's through my brother. May he rest, man. And what awesome times we had.
God bless. God bless. And now look at you. You're on a great show with two other guys, New York Revival. Why don't you give us a little background about that, what you guys do, and so on and so forth.
Listen, man, we all met each other through a different platform. If anybody doesn't know, you probably see us plastered on there if you see us one day. But shout out to New York Giant Rush, man. These guys basically formed us together. And what happened was we kind of just wanted to try our own thing, get our feet wet out there in the industry. And we thought about it, man. We brainstormed for about a year or maybe 11 months, 10 months. And long and behold, here came New York Revival. And the reason why we started New York Revival is because we felt New York sports just wasn't where it needed to be. You know what I mean? We feel like the excitement wasn't around New York sports because whether you cover it in the media and et cetera, it just wasn't enough excitement around it. So we wanted to bring that excitement back to New York, and we wanted to revive New York sports. And next minute, here came New York Revival. And the funny thing is that the first day we launched, the New York City Football Club, which is a soccer team, won their championship. So we're like, oh, this is an omen. You know, this is an omen. This is ready to happen. And next minute, you know, the Giants went through what they went through as far as different general manager, head coach now, and even the Rangers had a run. So this is an omen, man. So we're here to revive New York sports, man. And we figured to, you know, shout out to Spiro and, you know, Mr. Glass Half Full. Shout out to El Jefe, Jeff, white jersey, blue jersey, if you guys don't know, man. Damn it, Daniel, if you guys don't know. And we came together, man, and formed this nice, unique group, man. And it's like man, we were like born to do this. The chemistry is just so unbelievable. But we're just happy to do this, man. We just wanted to give that feel back to New York, and here came New York Revival, and I'm just happy as jumping off the way it is.
Well, we
Awesome.
love what you guys are doing. I mean, you guys are doing a great job. And Steve, I'm going to speak for you here, but we enjoy working with you guys. We really, really
Same.
do. You guys are great to work with. You're great friends. You're open to working together, collaborating, helping each other. That's what this is all about. So we look forward to doing much more of that together with you guys going forward.
I mean, this is what makes the Giants community so unique, right? I think the way that a lot of people, we all willing to work with each other. You
Sure.
know what I mean? On accounts of some people, it's not a perfect system, right? But may they remain nameless, but there's a lot of people out there that just don't, you know what I mean? But for the most part, at least let's say 95% of the community will love to work with each other. We love to see each other win because again, there's not enough coverage around our team.
Right.
So I'm more than happy jumping on the Giants Zone, the Hub. Shout out Kush, shout out Authentic, shout out Diggs, shout out the Entertainer, Chris, Talking Giants. I would love to jump on that platform any day, and just show love for the team, man. And they have called, and we've done some stuff, and we're more excited to do it, man. It's the community. It's what it's supposed to be about, and I love it, man. I love it. It's what makes us great.
And then, so finally, before we get into the show, what game day traditions do you have? Is there anything special you do on game day that we need to know about, or you can share with us?
The funny thing is, now I probably do a little more of a tradition now. Back in the day, not so much. But I will tell you this though: during their Super Bowl run back in 2007, I remember my wife bought me like a scarf, like a New York Giants scarf, like a winter scarf.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, every time I wore that scarf, we won. But when I didn't, we lost. So I remember during that run, and there's plenty of pictures out there that my wife has, I'm sure somewhere. I was rocking this scarf until we won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So I still have that scarf still hanging in there. And in 2007, she bought me a Victor Cruz Teach You How to Salsa shirt. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I rocked that shirt 2007, and we won another Super Bowl. I hung that up. So I literally got them hanging up in the background somewhere. It's pretty awesome. You guys can see it, but I pretty have them all. It's pretty dope, man. So that's the only tradition I have now. Is kind of like game day tradition of tweeting out, man, where's my Giants family at, and kind of give a roll call. But other than that, man, not really too much. Not really too much, man. I just kind of just go with the flow and hope we get a W.
Yeah, exactly. From where we come from, yeah. Let's get a couple, one at a time, though, right?
Need a few, man. We need a few, but exactly, Fly Guy, one at a time.
Got that right.
Amen to that.
So
Absolutely.
let's kind of get going here. I know Steve and I have some things we want to discuss. So Steve, why don't you go ahead and bring up your stuff first, and we'll go around the room here.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. And look, Vibes, Carl already said it, man. Thank you so much again for coming on here and carving out some time tonight. It's words can't express. So we really appreciate it. So look, mini camp's over. We're within a month or so of training camp. So it's that quiet time of the year. Everybody knows we're all craving for a soundbite for something. The draft is behind us. We've gotten a sneak peek already now at some of these young guys. I think going into the season, it goes without saying, health is going to be the number one thing. Sometimes teams have a great squad on paper, but it's the health. You can't stay healthy. And as we all know, unfortunately, we probably have the worst turf in the league. So we already got that going against us. And I know the Jets feel the same way. But let's assume we stay healthy, because obviously the years we've won the Super Bowl and gone deep, we've been able to do that. So assuming health is not the issue, is there a single, and if you have to narrow it down to two, I understand, but are there one or two position groups? So I'm not talking offense for those folks listening or watching, or just defense. I'm being more specific here. Is there a particular position group that concerns you in spite of all the additions and in spite of all the makeovers going into the new season?
Well, I'll tell you this, and I'm going to pick two, but I want to kind of take my time a little bit with each position, if that's okay.
Please.
First, I'm going to say the offensive line. And I know a lot of people are probably surprised by that because we drafted Evan Neal, we got Andrew Thomas, and we got some other interior linemen that we signed via free agency. But they haven't played together. They're not a proven commodity as of yet. And we still don't know what Evan Neal could do on that right side or that tackle as far as being a rookie. The NFL is totally different from college. Yes, he is the most complete offensive lineman in the draft. I actually wanted him because I felt like we could spend less time as far as developing it. but he still has to be developed to be pro ready. So until that line goes out there via preseason, via the first game, and actually do their job, that should be a concern, I think, for everyone to be like, I don't know what we're going to walk into. So with that, definitely the offensive line for me. The second one will be the defensive backs. Can Adoree Jackson be that number one corner? Can somebody else play that particular, like a Darnay Holmes or et cetera, can play that? So we don't know. And without James Bradbury now, that veteran guy that was kind of a lockdown, and I know the second year, I mean, the last year that everybody's like, oh, he fell off. I don't think he fell off. I just think it was just a scheme, but that's another story. But without James Bradbury there being that official number one, and Adoree Jackson was that guy at number two, we don't know we got at number two now. You know what I mean? And plus, when you think of, the new defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, you got to have strong cornerbacks in his system. So again, I don't know. So that's to be a huge concern for me as well, will be those DBs and the offensive line. So I'm going to pick those two out of the bunch there, in my opinion.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna number one. I'm gonna agree. The defensive backfield is a concern. We don't know what we've got. We've got a lot of youth back there. As Eli mentioned, Adoree Jackson. Can he be the guy? Can he step up and be the guy? Aaron Robinson, Darnay Holmes, both had great OTAs. So the news coming out was that both really, really performed well at OTAs, which is hopeful. We've got Xavier McKinney back there at safety. We've got Julian Love still back there. So there is some proven depth back there. You've also got, we drafted Cordell Flott out of LSU. We drafted Dane Belton out of Iowa. Flott, I believe, is developmental. I think Belton, is going to contribute, though. I think he's more Wink Martindale system ready. But again, until we start playing the games, we don't really know. And to Eli's point, health. They got to stay healthy. My other position of concern outside of the offensive line, of course, is wide receiver. Kenny Golladay. Which Kenny Golladay are we going to get? Are we going to get the Kenny Golladay that earned that contract, or are we going to get the Kenny Golladay that, for the most part, last year looked disinterested? He wasn't fighting for balls. He wasn't contesting catches. If it wasn't thrown in his hands, he didn't fight for it. There was no effort. And I want to see him score a touchdown too. Part of that is how they're going to utilize him. They're going to let him be the guy where you just throw it and they let him go up and get it. So I think that worked against him last year. Is Kadarius Toney going to stay healthy? And where's his head? You hear he's working out, but then he's got an injury and he's worried about rapping. And so how much does he really want to be a professional football player? What's his level of dedication? Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm excited to see what he could do. Very similar to Kadarius Toney. I'm hoping he comes in hungry. He's being compared to as a small Deebo Samuel. I'll take a small Deebo Samuel in this offense, given Brian Daboll's offensive mind, given Mike Kafka and what he could do offensively, what he did with the Chiefs offense. Darius Slayton, does he stay or does he go? If he stays, does he catch the ball? So all of that combined, Sterling Shepard, is he healthy? Is he going to be, are we going to get a full season? We're going to half a season. Can he stay on the field? So that to me is another area of concern, because this is supposed to be the system for this offense to come together. And this can really break it down if this doesn't all come into place as well. So I would say wide receivers is a question mark for me.
Awesome.
Can I throw a monkey wrench and ask you guys something, if that's okay? What do you think will be the strongest side of the ball? Do you think right now the offensive is the strongest side, or the defense is the strongest side of the ball? And anybody can answer that. But what would you think on paper right now? You can say, I think the offense is a little bit stronger after the draft, or it could be the defense. And any one of you guys can answer that.
It's not that I'm trying to avoid answering the question. I think there's going to be phases of the game that each side has its moments where they'll be middle of the pack. I think our defense is going to be strong against the run. I think our defense, and I'm not recreating my thoughts. I've been consistent for weeks and weeks, and on anybody who's been watching and listening has seen our other shows knows I've said this. Mark my words, hot take, whatever. I think the top 10 to even 15 quarterbacks in the NFL are going to tear us apart. I don't want them to, but I think they will. I think Wink's defense is going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be penetrating. It's going to be unpredictable. What's going to be great as fans is we're going to see turnovers like we haven't seen in a while. We may not have a guy get 16 sacks, but we're going to have lots of guys participate in the fun, as the saying goes. But listen, we don't have a couple lockdown corners, Eli, like you said. I love Adore. I think he's one of the better cover corners in the league last year, statistically and just to the naked eye. I think Robinson is who they're going to put out there on the boundary. He did that a little in the last 3 or 4 games when he was finally healthy. And man, he's awesome. He's so physical. I love watching him, but he's got like 3 games under his belt, right? I mean, so we do not have experience on the outside. I think so the answer is the top 10 or 15 quarterbacks in the league, of which we're going to play a number of them. They're going to have a field day, and maybe not in the first quarter of a game, but like over time in a game against us, it's going to be tough sledding. But then there's going to be games where our defense is creating turnovers, scoring touchdowns, and should be stout against the run. So that's the defense. So I think it's going to be up and down for the defense, and then the offense, I think it's going to be similar up and down. I think we're going to run the hell out of the ball. Unfortunately, it's not 1994 anymore. And while Carl and I talk about that all the time and how we control the clock and run the football, the rules of the league have changed. And you can't touch wide receivers anymore. It's wide receiver friendly. It's pass happy. Yeah. And so I think there's going to be games where our offensive line, I'm actually not as concerned. If you really, really, really take a look at that offensive line that we had the last 2 years, and you see this year, the ability to run the ball that I think they'll bring, I think passing will be challenging at times for a variety of reasons. And I was going to get into what my position group concern is, which kind of leads into that. It's a segue. But so I think it's going to be a tale of 2 cities with both. I think they're both going to be middle of the pack. But the good news is, if you look at where our rankings were as a defense and offense over the last 2 seasons, if our offense and our defense are just top like 13 to 17 in the league, we might win 9 or 10 games. I mean, it's crazy to think. Yes. So I think neither of them are going to be top 5 or top even 10 in the league. I want them to, but I don't know that they will. So I don't know that one or the other is going to be that, to answer your question, that much better than the other. I think both are going to be a work in progress. I think both are going to have their moments. Like Kayvon Thibodeau, I think he's going to be phenomenal at times, and I think at times he's going to be
regular, a rookie.
Yeah, like he'll disappear for a game, not because he's not hustling his ass off, but I think because the offenses and the offensive minds in this league are so smart, they're going to do misdirection, and no matter how NFL ready is. So, is that a good answer?
That's a great answer. And just to piggyback off you, if you don't mind, that is Flag and Steve. But just to piggyback, I agree with you. I really see both of them being in the middle of the pack. I think, yes, there was some improvements, like you said, a little bit on the offensive line, for sure, as far as on paper. But we got to understand there's a new coach, it's a new system that they have to get used to. We want to see if they take off running or not. For me, and we'll probably go through later. For me, I just don't see us winning a bunch of games. Unfortunately, I really think this is a 2-year task for us to get the team back on where it needs to be. And I agree with you 100% there, Steve. Man, just it's the middle of the pack, man. We still got a lot of work to do.
Here's one thing I'm going to say about that, and I agree with your assessment on both sides of the ball, Steve. The one thing that I'm more hopeful about this year than I have been previously is with the coaching staff in place and with the systems that we've seen these coaching staffs operate in, I could see the Giants being one of those teams that as the year gets on, you see it starting to come together.
Oh, yeah.
You see them improving. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean wins, but where they're starting to become one of those where they're competing, where we didn't see that last year. We saw quit. We didn't see compete. And I think this year you're going to see more compete, especially as the year goes on. So in as much as I'm not expecting playoffs or big wins, and please don't anybody jump on me for that. I see improvement, a gradual improvement as the year goes on. And give me competing, I'm going to be happy. I'll be happy.
Now, would you take you know how Joe Judge came in 2 years ago and we fought pretty damn hard?
Yeah.
You think that could be like a mirage? Like if we compete and show like, but next year could be a crapshoot, like how we saw last year. No, what do you think?
Well, let me give you food for thought. And Carl's heard me say this as well. We've had a few shows in the last few months where we've talked about what does success look like?
Mhm.
What would be and we've also had the same exact conversation because it's relative, it's related, is why are we excited about the upcoming? So we said, why are we excited about the upcoming season? We've had conversations around that, and we've had conversations around, well, what does success look like? And I've given the same answer in both. There are some of those times I've said 5 things, I've narrowed down to 3 or 4, but I'll give you the few that I can remember off the top of my head. That will be signs of success and at the same time reasons I'm optimistic and excited. And I think that's the answer to why it's not mirage. You will know we've been successful in spite of only having 7 or 10 or 6 or 8 wins, closer games, to Carl's point, all that stuff, turnovers. When we've identified impact players, we don't have a Michael Strahan, we don't have OC, we don't have Tuck, we don't have an Eli, that regime. And no matter how good we felt about Joe Judge after year 1, I don't think we had any impact players. Saquon had the potential his rookie year. Year number 2 was injured a bit, and we knew Saquon had the potential, but we didn't have any. So I want to see players that were drafted. I want to see players developed. I want to see guys that were on the squad already, whether it's a Quincy Roche, guys, Ellerson Smith coming out of the woodwork, like, oh my God, what about that? He had a good couple games at the end when he was finally healthy. That dude's a beast. I just read he put on 20 pounds lean muscle. This kid's a monster, 6'6", he's up to 255 and he still looks skinny. If he can turn it on, to me, success is not just wins and losses, which I know that's what really matters. But when you have a rebuild, and Eli will know it's not a mirage when we have players, like actual guys that we're getting excited about. So is the offense more explosive? Is the defense creating turnovers? Are we getting sacks? If we do lose a game, is it not like a 20-point blowout? But all those things are important. But then I also think what matters, and the reason you'll know it's not a mirage, is if you start seeing player development, players that fit the system. You can have a couple of superstar type of guys, but they get traded away, and we've all seen that happen. Like guys that fit this system. You look at what they did in Buffalo when Dable was the offensive coordinator and when Shane was the assistant GM. They drafted a tight end that didn't have any touchdowns in his entire college career. He's now one of the top pass catching tight ends, top 10 in the league. Yep. They got a wide receiver drafted in the middle rounds who had 200 yards in a playoff game. I mean, they understood how to draft guys, but they understood how to draft guys that fit. What does this guy want? So I think that as fans, it's like getting in a car and just driving around aimlessly, or getting in a car and knowing I'm trying to get to a destination. As fans, we'll know it's not a mirage when like those things are like, yeah, but did you see Kadarius Toney, dude? Oh my God. And Saquon is coming back because they're going to resign him. They got to, because it's Saquon, the year he had. And all these players in the offensive line. And to answer your question about offensive line, Carl, I'm sorry for dominating this, but I've been wanting to respond to that thing about offensive line. My guess is that they're going to ease into the playbook, and Carl's heard me say this a bunch, the first 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to show your bag of tricks to the whole league right away.
Absolutely.
But B, it's going to, and I think there will be more running than normal, and that's okay, potentially. And some misdirection, some easier plays to get guys out in space, because that will let that offensive line gel. It'll give them confidence, because so much of it is confidence, right? Especially when you got a rookie right tackle, to your point, Eli. So that's how I'll know it's not a mirage. Carl?
Pretty much the same take. You know what? If when that Joe Judge team, was surprising people, that was more the defense than it was the offense. And yeah, we were hopeful that, hey, maybe we're just a couple pieces away here. But I can only speak for myself. I never had that feeling like, hey, we're building something. Like, I could see us ascending in 2-3 years. It never felt that way. It felt very fragile is the best word that I could think of to describe it. Like more like, all right, well, okay, but I was holding my breath, waiting for that house of cards to crumble. So, one thing I've always said to Steve, and I've said on previous shows, and Steve will back me up on this, is success to me is we're not getting blown out. We're losing games, and I expect to lose more than we win because it's a rebuild, we're young, so on and so forth. But if we're losing games by 6 points or 8 points, all right, but we're competing and we're not getting blown out, and there's fight in this team, and the offense is still moving the ball late in the fourth quarter, and the defense is coming up with a stop when we need it. If you show me those things are falling into place, but yet we go 6-11, 7-10, I'm happy. We're going in the right direction. That
and
success.
okay, good. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Flag. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But that's my definition of success. Is this team just this all coming together, and you see it building, where we walk out of this season saying, all right, well, we only won 7 games, but man, you know what? We got something now. It doesn't feel fragile. It feels solid. Like there's a foundation. And I've been saying that all year. This year is about building the foundation, building the interior from the interior out, and building the foundation. If they address that, I'm going to come out of this season very, very happy.
And it's funny you say that, because I actually agree. And as we're chopping this up a little bit, it has my gears turning a little bit. But Carl, you said something, Fly Guy. You said something. If it didn't feel like you didn't have a plan, and you're absolutely right, because when Dave Gettleman was here, for the time he's been here, we never really knew the plan. Right. You know what I mean? I think he drafted Saquon before the quarterback. That's another debate. Even drafting Kadarius Toney without an offensive line or whatever the case, whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, you still had Andrew Thomas or whatever the case was that came in, but still, it just wasn't a definitive game plan. And it's funny you guys say that, because now when you look at Joe Shane, you actually go, okay, he's building a line because that's what struggled. Oh, he's building a linebacker unit because that's what they needed, somebody to come off that edge. Okay, well, he's building this, that, and the third. We lost Bradbury, but he got flat. And then you look at it actually has a plan now. So it's funny as we're chopping this up, we didn't have a plan. We really, really freaking didn't. And
what it comes down to?
Here we are. We finally do.
You know what it comes down to? And I think it's a New Yorker thing. I really, truly do. I always tell people, because I moved out of New York City 21 years ago, and I still feel like New York is always my home.
Well, first off, good for you getting out of New York. It's expensive hell, it's heck over here, That's another story. I'm only kidding.
Story, man. Oh my gosh. Don't get me started.
I know.
Go back as often as I can, though. I miss it.
Good for you. Good for you.
Miss it every day. But it's a matter of trust. Like it's so hard to put into articulate. When you go around the country, I think coaches earn, and managers, and no matter what sport you're following. I remember, I'm a Yankee fan, and Joe Torre, just as time went by, sometimes you'd see Joe Torre do something, you're like, huh? Then you say to yourself in the same second, you're like, that's Joe Torre. I don't care. The man can do whatever he wants. He walks on water. Steinbrenner didn't feel that way all the time about him, but and I think Tom Coughlin, if we're being honest with ourselves, Eli sometimes was like, Eli Manning would, oh my God, what is he doing? Another 3 interceptions. But it's Eli. Tom Coughlin is our coach. God bless him. But at the same time, if we're being honest with ourselves, it was Tom Coughlin. It was in Gilbride as offensive. And I think the thing about Gettleman is actions did not match words. He came in and said, yeah, we're going to hog mollies and fix this offensive line. You know what, dude? You're full of crap. You didn't fix nothing.
Yeah.
He said one thing,
absolutely,
but he did another. And I think as fans, I think what it comes down to is we lost trust in him and ownership, because they told us one thing. They talked out of both sides of their mouth, right? Oh, we're going to fix this. And then what did we see them draft? What did free agents did they sign? So I agree with everything you just said and what Carl said prior to that. I think it's a matter of, this is a team we're excited about because they're giving us a message. It's crystal clear. It's transparent. I think as fans, we hear what they're saying, and oh my gosh, like their actions are starting to match those words. It's not fixed yet. We haven't done anything. We haven't played a game, but that's even better than what we saw in the last regime. So I think if we really think about it, that's why everyone's so hopeful. It's not just that they drafted the great guys. It's that they said they were going to fix it and they took the best first step. We could only have dreamed about those first two players, especially Thibodeau and Neil, right? So
Steve, you got the right word. We're hopeful, and Eli, you tell me when the last time at this point of the offseason you had hope.
Zero. And this is a very long time. And
Right.
I think I tweeted out not too long ago too. I said this is the first time I actually look forward to the season and like, man, we have some hope here. We
And-
actually have something in place where we can go, all right, like I
Right.
can't wait for the season to start, you know?
Right. There's hope, and it just, and Steve, how many times have I said it? It just feels different. It feels positive. It feels like we've got the people now that can get us there. Like when we had Tom Coughlin, when we had George Young, when we had Bill Parcells and Ernie Accorsi. If we went through a 2-game losing streak, it was, all right, well, that sucked, but they're going to fix it.
can I give you an example of what I was talking about? You just mentioned Ernie Accorsi, Carl. I grew up, watching George Young, the Dancing Elephants, and Parcells. And we all know Parcells had a real rough first couple of years. And, thank goodness those were different times than today, because we may have never had the time to let Parcells played out, and the rest is history. But I'll never forget, Ernie Accorsi was our GM, right? After George Young. Everybody who's listening hopefully knows that. And I'll never forget, we have Michael Strahan, we have O.C. Umenyiora, right? Beasts, monsters, Pro Bowls, all pro. And they draft this guy out of Notre Dame, Justin Tuck. I was like, what the hell you drafted? And it wasn't a first round pick, don't get me wrong. And then it wasn't long after we had the NASCAR. Oh my God, these guys are amazing, Super Bowl. And then they draft Matthias Kiwanuka. I was like, what do they need to draft this kid out of Boston College? But of course he had a vision. Spagnuolo, you trust, he earned our trust. Right? Like he earned. So I think that's where we have a chance to get to with these guys, is they're starting to do the things that we as fans, I think, are going to say, you know what? It's early days, but hey, listen, let me just mention the one position group that, because I agree with both you guys about corners. I think that's, for me, I also have two position groups, and corners, I'm not going to rehash it. I agree. But the other one that I'm really concerned about is actually tight end. And I think they did a great job addressing it. We wanted a tight end picked in the 3rd to 5th round. 2nd round would have been a little too soon, but you never know. There was the kid out of Colorado. But Bellinger, I'm ecstatic. I couldn't be more excited. It was such a deep draft going into the draft. There were probably 3, 4, 5 guys that we were all like, mix and match. The kid out of Ohio State. There was a few of them, right? But after that, Ricky Seals-Jones is really a receiver. He's never met a block he liked. He wouldn't know how to block if his life depended on it, literally. But he can catch the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
He has the dropsies occasionally, but we saw what he did when he played for Washington last year against us. Jordan Akins, right? Another body that they signed as a free agent. They got this kid, Austin Allen.
Yes.
Andre Miller, undrafted free agents. Austin Allen, I'm very excited about. That's the really big kid. Anyway, and then Jeremiah Hall is more like an H-back. Oklahoma, he actually played tight end. He's a very, very good pass catcher, and he can block the hell, but he's more of an H-back size, right? He's like 6'2", 248, I think, give or take, something like that. So I love what we've done, and we have a room full of potentials, I call it. But the problem is, I think Evan Neal is going to be a future Pro Bowler. I really, truly believe that. I truly believe that. Like, we've seen some of the best offensive tackles come out and make their Pro Bowl their rookie year. I can name them. Like, I think he has that potential, but I think at the end of the day, though, you still want to give him a little help, especially in the passing game. And Eli, you talked about that earlier when you talked about offensive line being your concern. And so I'm hopeful, if he's healthy, knock on wood, Bellinger is a hell of a blocker. We know that. If anybody who's, but it just makes me a little nervous that tight end room is completely unproven. Young, And I love that we have some traditional wide tight end types, but we don't have a lot of them. Really, Bellinger's the main guy,
Right.
and a couple of undrafted free agent dudes. So I think the tight end position is going to be so important because I think it's going to help that offensive line block, and it's going to help keep those third down conversions going because we have all these chess pieces that Carl talked about earlier. You know, Wandale, Kadarius, who I have like a man crush on, right? I mean, like all these guys are just like, it's insane if they're all healthy and they're on the same page and they learn that playbook, what they're going to do. But that tight end position, I think is going to be, I mean, Carl knows that's like one of my favorite positions on the field. I think that tight end position, I mean, I'm not saying we're looking for another Shockey or Bavaro here, but I hope there's like a Jake Ballard type. And I'm not even asking for Kevin Boss yet. Let him grow into the role. But you know what I mean, guys? I'm concerned about that tight end position.
So we currently have 6 tight ends on the roster. Now, Steve, I was just looking, Jeremiah Hall, they have listed, believe it or not, and you called it, as a fullback. They don't even have him listed as a tight end. He's currently listed as a full, or the H-back, let's say.
Yeah.
Your point.
Yeah.
And the one guy that that's on the roster is that Chris Merrick.
Yeah, but he'll probably be.
I don't know.
Water.
So the point is Bellinger's got a golden opportunity to emerge here as the guy. And I was going to go into this next. You're kind of segueing to where I was going to go next about rookies. I personally think that they're going to start the season with Ricky Seals-Jones, and then you're going to see Bellinger just kind of get blended in until I think he's going to become the guy. You know, at what point, I don't know. Unless he kills it in camp. You know, he didn't have great numbers last year, his senior year. But part of that, they're saying maybe he was underutilized as well at San Diego State.
I don't want to be argumentative. If minicamp was any tell, Ricky Seals-Jones was buried. He didn't even get any play with the ones, they said. And I think they're going to throw Bellinger into the fire.
I hope you're right,
so.
personally. Yeah, I hope so. I actually hope you're right, Steve. I really do. He's got the potential. You know, if he puts it together, we're all happy, myself included. So I agree with you. I have no problem with that at all.
I agree. I think it's baptism by fire. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
you're right. You're right. Now, I was going to go into rookies here, but Eli, do you have a little bit of time you can still give us here, or are you on a crunch?
Oh no, yeah. Go through it. Yeah, go through it.
So what I wanted to go through quickly is I wanted to just kind of go through the draft picks and then get your guys' opinion. Do you think he starts? Does he contribute? Developmental?
That'll be fun. Yeah, we can do that real quick.
All right.
So I'll go through quickly. So Kayvon Thibodeau?
Start.
Yeah, I think
Starting.
Starting. First 2. Thibodeau and Neal, I think we could skip because I think we all agree that they're going to start. Okay.
Correct.
Wandale Robinson.
Package type guy. I don't think he'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contribute.
I actually think he might start because I think Sterling Shepard won't be ready. Will he be lined up on play number 1? Probably not.
Right.
But I think he'll get starters minutes, if that makes sense.
No, I think you're right, Steve. And you know, I was trying to think.
I'm not trying to be cute, Eli. I'm not trying to,
No, go ahead. No, I can see that too because you hit the nail on the head where you said Sterling might not be ready.
Right.
I can see that. I can see starters minutes come from that. Absolutely.
Wandale's
You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think as Sterling, because again, he's gonna want that contract because I don't think the Giants might pick him up, but that's another story. I think Wandale will just be a couple package. I don't know. But again, I don't mind either way. I can see both, to be honest with you. Steve.
So we all agree he's going to contribute.
Absolutely.
He's a
Oh,
beast.
yeah.
Guys, see.
I love Wandale.
Do you see a scenario where Wandale and Kadarius Toney are on the field together?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine? I'm telling you, I do not want to be the defensive coordinator facing that. But again, for me, I'm sorry, guys. For me, I have question marks regarding Kadarius Toney. Is his head in the game, and is he going to be healthy? I hope he is, because sky's the limit with him. It was a rough rookie year for many different.
If you don't mind, Carl, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug at the moment. But when we had LPG on New York Revival, there was one thing that kind of stood out to me, and I'm not putting words in LPG's mouth, but if you watch it, he said, if the record was what it was, would you come back from injury quick? And here's a guy that has inside to most of these Giant players.
Yeah.
So I think when you think of Kadarius Toney, and he said, put yourselves in their shoes. The team ain't going the way you think it is, and you're hurt. Are you rushing to get back? And I'm gonna ask you guys both those questions because he asked us that. Would you rush to get back? And I answered, I was like, I don't think I would. Not coming back to that to put my body on the line to lose or to, such and such. So I'm gonna ask you guys, would you come back to that particular situation?
So
And then I'll wrap up my point, of course.
Steve, I got a strong opinion on that one, Steve, so I'm just going to jump in here for a minute. I do. I'm a rookie.
Okay.
I haven't earned or proved anything yet. I want to earn the respect and trust of my teammates. So you know what? If it's an injury I could play through, you're damn right I'm coming back. I don't care what the team record is.
All right, Steve.
I work in corporate America. I've been self-employed as well, but I work in corporate America, and I've been a hiring manager. And one of the things that was very hard for me to learn is, and I'm a little bit older, Eli, but
You don't look it. God bless you, man.
thank you.
Hey, I'm the old man here, guys. Be careful.
Yeah. I got to lose a couple of pounds, and I'll probably get more stress, more wrinkles, as they say. But the point is, it's a different generation. And I agree with Carl. The way I was raised, you do what you got to do. You fight till the end. My favorite running back of all time was Barry Sanders. Act like you've been there before. Just hand the ref the ball. It's a matter of respect. Respect yourself, respect your teammates, respect your opponents, and respect the game. But when I mentioned the corporate America thing, one of the things that I've noticed is that this generation, this very, very younger generation, when they come in, it's, well, I got leverage. I don't have to. And it doesn't make me a bad person. And I'm my own corporation. I'm going to do what's best for me.
Mm.
And so I agree with Carl, but I'm in a place now where I'm starting to realize, even a Kenny Galladay, who's a veteran of a number of years, like, if I'm working for a company and the senior leadership of my company is a bunch of buffoons, I can tell you what most people in that company are doing. They're not giving it their all. And quite frankly, they're sending out their resume. So if we look at it that way, that it is a job, right? This isn't college football. It's definitely not high school football. Then it does. I think I'm somewhere in between both you guys. It disappoints me. It's the fault of all of us who've raised these younger people, and my kids aren't quite that old yet, but it's a generational thing. It doesn't make me happy, but that's how I see it.
And you hit the nail on the head there, Steve, and Fly Guy. And let me make this clear. As for me, I'm not that young either. I was taught to fight and keep going. But placing myself in KT's shoes, like you said, it's a generational thing. This guy already has the social media following. He's the best. He caught this ball. He's electric. What am I coming back for? I'm a brand. I need to protect my brand at all costs. This is what these kids are being taught right now from their agents, from social media, the hype. They believe in their own hype. So with that being said, I say, well, I get it. I see why they didn't come back. I wouldn't either if I was in his shoes, because I am that brand and I know how these kids are in this generation. But I'll tell you this. I think KT will be fine. I think his head is in the game. It's just what Steve said. You had a bunch of, quote, buffoons running the asylum.
Sure.
You're not going to want to come back to that. That's a toxic situation to come back to. So I wouldn't want to do that. But I really do think, and I've asked behind the scenes to everyone that I know that I speak to involving with the Giants, the kid has his head on his shoulder. It's just, I think the former regime, I didn't think he'd want to come back to that as soon as possible. So I think KT should be okay, Fly Guy, to say that, the least.
I think you're right. I mean, if he's everything you say, Eli, we're going to be a better team because of it. And that's my bottom line. And I agree. I don't think Jason Garrett, Joe Judge, or anybody in charge knew how to utilize him.
No. And I say more Jason Garrett than Joe Judge, maybe. I think Joe Judge didn't know offense. I think that's why he went back to New England to learn how to, build an offense or to move an offense. I think that's why he went back there. But I think Joe Judge, I know people are going to fry me for this, but I liked him. as much as I wanted to see him go, is because I was like, all right, it's just time because we're just done losing. I liked him. I just don't think he had enough knowledge, unfortunately, to fix that offense. So I blame that more on Jason Garrett not utilizing the tools that he had in front of him. And look what happened with Kenny Golladay in the beginning. He was flipping out
Mhm.
on Jason Garrett because I'm sure that's an offense we seen during Tecmo Bowl. You know what I mean? It was just
Right.
so old.
Yeah.
It was stale, and frustrations built even for a young guy like a Kadarius Toney,
Right.
even for a Sterling Shepard, maybe. You know, these guys want the ball, and then they're going and doing 5-yard hitches and trying to go upfield. There was no deep ball. So, that was definitely more Jason Garrett than Joe Judge.
Sure.
But man, I can see the frustration of why people don't want to come back to that. You're not helping me. You're only hurting my stats at this point, and I can't get paid.
It was
You know?
frustrating as fans. So can it put
Yeah.
yourself in there?
Listen, that game against Dallas and then that other game where against the Rams, was it the game after that where he had that first drive, 30 yards all by himself, like play after? I mean, I think he's going to be like Odell, that there's craziness. There's some things that are just like, man, I wouldn't react that way if I was this kid. But when
Right.
he's between those white lines and he's on the field, beast.
I agree.
And there, I don't even think him and Cheetah, it's not about comparing him and Tyreek, because I even think Tyreek's a different player. Debo,
Mm.
I truly believe there is nobody in the NFL like Kadarius Toney, just like there is nobody like Debo. There's nobody like Debo Samuel, and there's nobody like Tyreek Hill. I think he's a unique unicorn type of player. And unfortunately, he is prone to getting hurt. We saw that at the University of Florida. So, but I think if he's healthy, my thing is, I want to see him play through pain the way a lot of our
Thank you.
greatest players have.
Thank you.
There's what is the expression, guys? There's a difference between being injured and being hurt, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Agreed. You hit the nail
yeah.
right on the head there, Steve.
Oh yeah. I agree.
All right, so then let's keep going. Joshua Azudu.
As you do.
I have trouble with that name for some reason.
Love him.
Contribute, development. What do you think?
Developmental, I would say. Later round guy, I would say. But
Steve?
correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. I'd like to hear you.
I think you're going to see him get significant playing time the second half of the season. Unfortunately, could be because of an injury on the interior, but I also think it's because he's that good.
Interesting.
And
All
I've got a question mark around him because I think camp is going to be very, very telling for him because look, this coaching staff last year liked Shane Lemieux. They had their eyes on Shane Lemieux and the Giants drafted him. Was it 2 years ago? I'm sorry.
2 years.
Right. But now is Lemieux healthy? Can Lemieux do the job?
He's been getting the starter minutes in
Yes,
camp.
he has. Yes, he has.
He looks great.
Now, I think Zudu is going to push him. So it's going to be a question of does he step up and take this and run with it? Because if not, then I think Azudu is going to step right in. So that's a question mark. It can go either way for me. He's going to start or contribute, but I think he's either way he's going to be in the mix.
How many guys did we start at left guard last year? You remember?
Oh my God, was 5?
5?
Yeah.
5, whatever. Right.
I mean, it's the interior offensive line. Unfortunately, they are prone to injury. They're battling inside a telephone booth, right, as they like to say in the league. What ends up happening is you have to mix and match and move guys around. We got Max Garcia. So one of the cool things is we have depth we've never had before, and we have a bunch of guys that can play Max Garcia can play center or guard. Our starting. I'm sorry.
Feliciano's going to be our center.
I was just going to say Feliciano. He can play center or guard.
Yep.
I mean, we have a lot, and this kid Azudo can play left tackle or guard. I mean, so God forbid something happens to Andrew. Okay, we have a swing tackle, but we also have this kid that gets so, we have a lot of flexibility there that we've never had. So I'm so excited about this kid, watching what he did on tape. Oh,
right. Let's see. 3rd round pick, Cordell Flott, cornerback, LSU.
Eli?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think he's gonna have some good playing time. I think they're gonna need it out there as far as nickel packages, etc. He's gonna be out there. I think he's gonna have some minutes for sure. I don't think he's gonna start per se. He's definitely not gonna start, but he's gonna be out there in some packages for sure. Unless something really extravagant happens during training camp where he's gonna figure out and be
Well,
that two or that
I agree
slot
with
guy.
you.
I
But
think he's just gonna be out there on nickel packages and do
real
his thing.
quick, not to go on a tangent, I agree with you, but Carl, you too. Who do you guys predict is going to be our starting nickel then? Because you got three guys roughly. You could say four, but really three. Darnay,
Right,
we drafted 3 years ago.
right.
Robinson, who I still think they're probably going to put on the boundary, but coming out of college, like, oh, he's a slot guy, right? He's just good. And then Cordell Flott.
Julian Love. Steve, Julian Love.
I think he's your yeah, you could. The thing about
He
Julian Love, is,
could, but he's gonna be that safety, no?
yeah, you could play strong safety.
Yeah, well, right
Yeah.
now they have him listed at corner, and I think the intention was to move him to nickel.
Mm.
I think your safeties are going to be McKinney and Belton out of Iowa, the rookie.
Ooh,
See, I don't see that.
I don't see that either.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't see that. I don't know. I don't see it, but if it happens, man, then we're in trouble.
Which answers your question on Belton when you get to Belton. Now we know how we feel.
Yeah,
about
yeah. I kind of showed my hand there, but yeah, you're right.
You did.
All
You
right,
did.
so Daniel Bellinger, we discussed. I don't think we need to rehash that conversation.
Mhm.
So that leads us right into Belton. And again, right now, guys, the three safeties on this roster are McKinney. Now, this is looking at their roster: McKinney, Henry Black, and Belton. They have Julian
Oh,
Love
Lord.
listed at state as a corner. That's why I said that, because I looked at, matter of fact, it's on my screen now. That's why I think the way they had this set up, going off their roster, is I think they've got Julian Love penciled as that nickel. Again, guys, Belton was a sneaky good player in Iowa. I think he fits Wink Martindale's scheme. You can move him around. You can put him out there. I just think he's going to be back there with McKinney starting. My 2 cents.
Yeah, he might win the job. And they also signed a bunch of undrafted free agents.
Yes, they did.
They're actually really excited about.
Yeah.
Although they may be practice squad players. I think they're hoping one of them rises to the top. But you may be right. I know he's got coverage issues. And he's not peppers in the box. So don't think he played God, it starts with an I. What do they call it? Iowa. He played a position that was a hybrid position. It was almost like a linebacker.
Yes.
Safety. They had a name for it.
What,
there.
a week? Like inside a week? Week
No,
one? He played a week?
Man, I wish I could remember. During the draft, I knew this, but anyway, so he played like this unique safety, strong safety position where it wasn't like a traditional, just a strong safety. They moved him around quite a bit.
That's my point.
Yeah,
That's why I think he's going to be out there.
yeah, he could.
And he's a ball hawk. So I think that all
Would you-
combined, I think you're going to see him playing back there. I think they're going to try to get him starting.
I'll
could be
see.
wrong. Eli, I could be completely wrong on this one.
Oh no, we all could be completely wrong. It's just a guess. It's
I
just
think-
a guess.
But I
But,
think you actually have me convinced about Julian Love, because if I'm correct in those top 10 or 15 quarterbacks in the league when we play them,
Mhm.
and they could carve us up,
Mm.
because a lot of those quarterbacks have great offensive lines.
Mhm.
You're not going to out prepare them. There's nothing Wink's going to throw that they haven't seen. They're going to be uncomfortable against Wink's defense, but
I'm going to try and hide what they really are. Is what
they
he
may want a Julian Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So round 5, Mika McFadden, linebacker, Indiana. Steve, you
Elemental.
like him, Steve?
I would say. Unfortunately, I didn't dig that deep, but I think if you have, you got Blake, you got Thibodeau, you got Roche, you got who else that could start over him?
So we got 2 inside
I think
linebackers. You're going to have 2, right? You got
Ozolari?
Blake and Tay Crowder. So
Yeah.
the question becomes, because Aziz and Kayvon are going to be your outside backers, right? So you're inside.
Got Aziz in there, yeah.
So you're in. So the position that's, hopefully Blake's healthy, right? If he's healthy, he's your starter. But Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant, he's fun to watch. He came up with some great plays, but he's not a starter.
No.
So
No.
the question becomes, is McFadden going to take his job? I think he has a chance to do it.
I think
have him
I
down as development. I don't think he's gonna contribute. I could see him maybe on special teams. I don't see him contributing much.
Who's this?
McFadden.
Okay.
But hold that thought because there's another player we're gonna get to that I think fills that spot that you're
I
talking
know
about.
who you're talking about.
Yeah. So, DJ Davidson, defensive tackle, Arizona State.
Backup.
Rotation.
definitely
Big
when it gets to
boy.
these later rounds, it's back up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
But he'll make the team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think they're all gonna make the team.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you. Round 5, Marcus McKethan, offensive lineman, North Carolina, who was Azudu's teammate. And I'm just gonna say this before I open it up: 6'7", 340 pounds.
Big boy.
Woo!
huge.
I think you just got to coach him up. I just
Wha-
don't think he's got the. I don't think he's got it all together yet.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's definitely developmental. We don't got the chops yet, in my opinion. But
But
you know, I
maybe
could be
he's
wrong.
got it
Again,
on,
I didn't
watch
see
out.
I didn't break down that much film on him, but I don't see him as like. Let's just say I'm breaking down on the films on guys that I go, oh, okay, let me take a look,
Right.
and he hasn't really hit that radar for me. So I think he's a developmental type guy for sure.
What are you thinking, Steve?
Oh yeah, no. He's going to make the team. Once he locks his claws onto you, you're done. He's a road grader. He can pull, but in very short pull routes. Like he doesn't pull all the way around and then out into the boundary. Like he's actually very physically gifted for his size. He's just what you would expect. He's not a great pass blocker yet. So I think he's going to make the squad. He's going to be depth. I don't think they're going to put him on the practice squad because somebody else will take him if they do. They're not going to risk that. I think he's going to be one of your backup guards.
Yeah, coach him up. Exactly right. And then
Agree.
finally, and here's the guy we were referring to, Steve. Darian Beavers, linebacker, Cincinnati.
Yeah, you love him.
Wow, I can't. You know what? If I bought player jerseys, that's the jersey I'm getting this year. But I'm
Well, you
I'm
like
not-
I'm
the-
gonna bow out this one and have you guys break that one down because unfortunately I didn't go that deep.
Yeah, he's a linebacker that everyone was shocked he didn't go like literally 2 or 3 rounds higher, Eli.
he's got all the
Really
Yeah.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Team captain,
yeah.
gonna be great special teamer. Yeah, he's just like awesome kid.
Yeah. I think so.
That's gonna take Crowder's job then.
Yeah,
If I had to guess.
he's
You
the
guys are that high
guy.
on him.
He's the guy that I see by the end of the year. He's really he's getting it, and you could see the potential. Like, we got something here. He's our next linebacker of the future. So I'm extremely high on him. I think it was a gift that he fell to us where he did.
Listen, the last linebacker that we drafted that late in the draft ended up became a great player for us. Was a multiple Pro Bowler, Jesse Armstead.
Oof.
Out of the
Ooh,
U.
yeah, shout out.
You.
Shout out Jesse Armstead. Love him.
Yeah.
Love
We need more
Armstead.
guys like that.
I agree.
Alright. So let's have some fun. Then we'll wrap this up for you, Eli. Let's go through the schedule, buddy. Okay.
Let's do it.
Do
So-
it.
I'll name the week, the opponent, the location. You give me win or loss. All right. And whatever vibes you want to throw onto it. All right.
I got you. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it. Let's do it. Fun.
Week 1 at Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's a loss.
Week 2 home versus Carolina.
That's a W.
Week 3 home Monday night against Dallas. Yeah, I know. We all make that same face,
That's a
brother.
loss, man. That's a loss. I hate it.
Trust me, brother. We all make that same
Yeah.
bitter beer
Oh.
face when we go to that one.
Yes.
Week 4 home versus Chicago.
That's a W.
There you go.
Well, I'll take 2 and 2 coming out of the first 4 weeks. Week 5 in London versus Green Bay.
It's a loss, man. Damn.
I said
Um,
the same thing, but I still wonder who the hell he's going to throw to. He's lost all his receivers.
True. But we're talking
Like-
about Aaron freaking Rodgers here.
I know.
And let me say this.
I
You know how, and this is from me. This is just from me, in my opinion. I think Eli Manning made his receivers better. When you look at Hakeem Nicks, even Victor Cruz, and I'm sure Victor Cruz can attest to it. Shout out Victor Cruz. I'm gonna say that. Shout out Victor Cruz. I think he made those guys better. In my
Especially the
opinion.
tight end.
CYA right there, Eli.
Tyree. What was that?
That's a
What
little
was
CYA right there.
Yeah, my shout out. That's
Yep,
my guy.
yep,
I love
yep.
Victor Cruz.
But
Shout out
look at,
Victor.
but look, Eli,
Um,
to your point, look what he did with the tight ends. We had tight ends.
Yeah,
Like,
Boss, Ballard.
Yes.
I mean, come on. Let's be honest. So when I'm thinking of Aaron Rodgers to kind of circle it all around, I'm thinking he's gonna make these guys better, man. And I think he's gonna be all right. I really do think so.
yeah,
He's
they
gonna
got
be
they got a high pick rookie that they've been screaming for finally a high pick wide
Yes.
receiver they're excited
Yeah,
about.
Yes.
agree.
Yes.
Agree. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's a loss for Green Bay. I'm sorry.
Oh,
With
no,
Green
you're
Bay.
good. Week 6, home versus Baltimore.
Loss. Damn it.
Boy, they just had 2 losses. Yeah, they had the linebacker yesterday, and then Tony Siragusa passed away today.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace.
No.
Tony Saragusa,
He
man.
did?
Yeah.
The
No,
Goose had the kennel on.
Yeah, no, the family.
Goose.
Unfortunately, it's sad.
The goose. So yeah, rest in
I
peace
had
to the
no
goose. man.
idea.
Yeah, in his
Oh
sleep.
my God.
Uh,
Oh,
Week 7 at Jacksonville.
W. W.
Steve, no commentary. Week 8 at Seattle.
W. That's we taking that. W.
Eli's
Okay,
got
no
his
one
big
said.
boy. He's got his big boy pants on tonight.
Hell yeah, I did. For that one.
Yeah. Talk to me on Thanksgiving.
I got you.
So week 9 is a bye.
Okay.
Week 10, coming off the bye, home versus Houston.
W. Dub.
Week 11, home against Detroit.
If we can't win that one, man.
Yeah.
I'm going dub, man. Put my big boy pants again. Dub. Dub. That's a W.
You better keep them pants on for a couple more weeks, brother.
I know.
Here you go. Because now it gets tough, man. We'll see how tough.
There it
We'll
goes.
see how big your boy really is. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Week 12, Thanksgiving Day at Dallas.
Loss.
Yeah. Okay.
so just to be clear, you're thinking we get swept by Dallas.
Yes. For this season, yes, absolutely. Unless a catastrophic injury happens
Yeah.
to Dak or Zeke or whatever, we're gonna get swept.
Eli
absolutely.
just went from big boy pants to Garanimals.
Yeah. Early.
Oh my God,
Okay.
I didn't know this.
So Eli, I couldn't hold that one back anymore.
No, you're good.
Oh man. All right.
Yes, sir.
Week 13, home for Washington.
Come on, man.
He's going.
Home at home versus Washington.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we at home. We at home.
That's a home game. Jesus, he's going from Garanimals to the Pens.
Yeah, you see this.
Now, so let's think about this. So 2 wins, but now you're coming off a loss, and you're coming off a loss against Dallas, and you've been swept. So what's that coach mentality? The team.
You got it. You got to go with the W, man. Because I don't feel like I feel like we're even.
Yeah, I did that. Carl, you see how I did that?
You see that, right? He persuaded me to do this. You see this?
Steve and I are in sales. I knew exactly what he was doing.
I see what he did. You know what? But he's right though, because again, who's their quarterback, right? Wait, who did they? Wait, they just
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Oh, that's a W. No, I don't trust Carlson. That's a W.
They're going to have some issues with that offensive line. They lost Brandon Sheriff.
Yep.
No more Eric
Yep.
Flowers to make fun of. He's gone. So yeah.
That's a W. That's a W.
Week 14, home against Philadelphia.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
Man, he's praying. He's looking.
I am.
That depends.
Philly-
Getting tighter and tighter, boy. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
looking.
gonna say loss, man. I'm gonna say loss. And I hate to say it. I'm gonna say loss.
Week
That's a loss.
Week 15 at Washington.
I say they got our number. That's a loss. I say they break it even.
So we're not going to sweep them. We're going to
No.
split.
We're gonna split.
I
I think
actually
we'll-
agree with you. I think we beat them home and we struggle there. I agree.
We
with
struggle there. Yep. I think
you.
so.
Week 16, Christmas Eve day at Minnesota.
Let me think this out now. Let me think this out. They just fired Mike Zimmer, didn't they?
Yes,
Too,
they did.
over there.
They did.
That's a W. That's a W.
Wow.
That was
That's a
on
W.
the Carl. That's on the road, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a W. I think. I think they'll pull it out.
Week 17, New Year's Day, home against the Colts. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're
And I
not
don't
gonna
have
have
to
a.
say anything more than that.
So they
We
so,
don't have-
so let's recap. They got what's his name from Atlanta now as the QB.
Matt Ryan,
They got the
Jonathan Taylor.
they got the best running back in football last year statistically.
Yes.
It's hard for me to
I'm telling you right now. That we're not gonna finish off strong. I think that's a loss.
Now they lost Glowinski. Their second best offensive lineman is now on our squad, but they got Quentin Nelson coming back healthy.
I think that's a loss for us, unfortunately, man.
So that's a loss. Okay.
Wasn't the Colts in it? The Colts was in the thick of it last year, wasn't they? If I
They
can remember?
lost to Jacksonville, I believe, the last game of the season, and they didn't make the playoffs because of it.
Because of
And
that.
the coach got fired because of it.
Oh, no, I still think they'll take the loss.
They
Man.
got rid of Carson Wentz.
Yes, they
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, now they're gonna take the loss. Unfortunately, the Giants.
Right,
Matt
so
Ryan's a better
before-
quarterback.
Before I address the last game, let's see where you have us. So you have us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have us right now at 8-8.
But hold on. You have us with only one win in the division to this point.
Very
Yeah.
good point, Steve.
That's worth noting.
Yeah,
Very
Yeah.
good point.
I can see that. Our division's tough, man. Let's
So,
be honest. The NFC East is tough.
so let's think about this. Given the NFC East, okay, 8 wins may have us playing for a wild card. Maybe,
Maybe.
possibly the division. Okay.
100%.
Now, I say that to preface because this last game, I really want you to think long and hard about all.
You know what? I'm gonna say. I
I'm
say we
setting you
lose
up,
that
my
one.
friend.
I say we lose that one. I'm gonna stick to it and say we lose that one,
Yeah.
and then we'll be 8-9. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
did I get that right? So
Yeah.
yeah, well, I think we'll be 8-9, man.
Yeah. I don't see us going into Philadelphia with I don't think this team is there yet. Okay.
No.
Maybe in a year or two we'll have this conversation. It'll be different. But right now, for this team to go into Philadelphia for a game that winner gets in, I don't think they're there yet.
I agree, man. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Unfortunately, I'll be shocked if we actually do win the 8, man. I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that record. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be happy with that record.
If we're
really
going
would.
to shock the world or shock our fans,
Hit the playoffs.
they're going to have to make hay in that first half of the season because when you have so much, one of the youngest teams in the league and so many young players, they're going to hit that rookie wall. You know,
Yeah.
I agree.
That back
I
end of
agree.
the schedule is so tough that you know what? We're seeing the importance of these are the games you have to win. So you got to win those early games. You know, big boy pants. So, you know,
Yeah.
if we can load up on the W's early on, we got a shot. But if there's a playoff game on the line going into Philadelphia, I don't think they're there yet.
I agree, man. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, if that record hits there, to me, I'll be pretty shocked by it. Because for me, I was like, I don't think we're gonna win many. But going through that schedule, man, I don't know. It might. I don't know. It might. It just might. You never know. You
that was
never
fun,
know.
man.
Yeah,
That was fun, man.
enjoyed it. Eli, this was so much fun tonight. We're so glad you came on.
Thank you.
You know, we anticipated for a while, and you didn't disappoint, my brother. So,
Well
you know,
said.
thank you again, and continued luck to you, Hefe and Spiro, with the revival. And let's keep the communication open because we really want to continue working close with you guys.
Same here, guys. And once again, thank you for having me. Fly Guy, the banker, aka Steve, Mr. Cup. It's my guys, man. If you guys don't know who they are, man, it's the Giant Zone. Come on, man. I had to visit here. So thank you guys for having me, man. It was an absolute pleasure. It was fun. And I couldn't ask for anything more. Thank you so much. And I went over the time that I said, so forgive me. I was having so much fun. Thank you so much. My wife will kill me later, but it's all right.
We appreciate you, Eli. Thank you so much. Steve, always a pleasure, my brother.
Same here, big guy.
All right, guys, we'll talk soon.
Bless. Thank you.